educators, welcome to EduTalk Collaborative Conversations, the show where passionate educators converge to talk about all things teaching. In virtually every episode of EduTalk, we delve into an insightful educational research study and hear from a dynamic panel of educators who discuss the study and translate the findings into tangible tools for our everyday endeavors in education. I'm your host, Jeni Langfelt, and in today's very special episode of EduTalk, we're focusing on a landmark event sparking nationwide dialogue on literacy and inclusivity, the first ever Black Literacy Matters Conference, hosted right here in the heart of the nation, Omaha, Nebraska. It is my honor to welcome Clarice Jackson. She is the dynamic force and visionary founder of this pioneering initiative. Clarice is a steadfast champion for educational equity and literacy. She's going to take us through her motivational path to the conference's inception and driving forces behind it, and then the profound impacts that she hopes it will have on educators and students alike. But before we have the pleasure of hearing from Clarice, allow me a moment to lay the groundwork with some pivotal statistics that not only underline the urgency of the topic today, but also set the stage for enriching discussions to come. The current state of literacy among Black students in America presents a distressing discrepancy. Per the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, also referred to as the nation's report card findings from 2022, it reveals that a mere 17% of Black fourth graders attained proficiency in reading, a stark contrast against the 42% proficiency rate among white fourth graders. This significant achievement gap persists and even widens throughout their schooling years. According to NAEP's 2022 data, only 15% of Black eighth graders reached reading proficiency compared to 38% of white eighth graders. And then by 12th grade, the divide gets even wider, with proficiency rates at 17% for Black students versus 47% for white students. These statistics not only highlight the critical need for initiatives like the Black Literacy Matters Conference, but also emphasize our collective responsibility to foster a more equitable educational terrain. These stark statistics that we've just listened to really paint a vivid portrait of the literacy landscape for Black students in America, a landscape that necessitates immediate, focused, and sustainable intervention. It's within this context that Black Literacy Matters Conference emerges, not just as an event, but as a beacon of hope and a strategic response to a long-standing challenge. By rallying educators, policymakers, and communities around the cause of literacy, this conference embodies the collective effort to dismantle barriers and cultivate an environment where every student has the tools to thrive academically. In anticipation of our next segment, where we stand on the brink of an enlightening conversation with Clarice Jackson, her insights and experience promise to not only deepen our understanding of these issues, but also inspire action and hope. Stay tuned, an insightful conversation awaits.
Please note that the opinions and views expressed by the host and panelists on this show are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of their employers or affiliated organizations.
Hello and welcome back to EduTalk Collaborative Conversations. This is a very special episode of EduTalk. Normally we dive into a study, but today we have the founder of the Black Literacy Matters Conference with us, and we are going to learn all about its inception and how it came to be and what it is about to do. This is super exciting, so I can't wait for you to meet my guest. Her name is Clarice Jackson. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, and then we're going to get into some things. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
And I'm just happy that the audience gets to know me if they don't. I'm a lifelong Nebraskan. I'm a parent, a mom, and I think that that is my number one title. I will take that to the grave. That is my greatest accomplishment. So I'm a parent of 2 children, one who is dyslexic and one who is thriving and about to graduate next week from UNL. So college graduate, Bachelor of Arts. So I'm very proud of that. And because of my journey with my daughter, dyslexia and literacy became a huge passion of mine to the extent that I made it my profession.
Wow.
And along my journey, including Voice Advocacy Center, which is the first dyslexia screening and tutoring center in the state of Nebraska, and we are on 90th Street, and we're still doing that great work and helping students every single day and really helping to raise awareness around dyslexia. And so on that journey, as I was helping all students, a stark narrative met my mind, met my ears, met my eyes, and it is that for Black students across the nation, the literacy scores of Black students are at minimum, not maximum, 10%, and that's it. So these students across the nation, it's not just Nebraska, it's every state. 76 to 90% of the students that are Black are not proficient in reading, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress. And so we have maybe, in Nebraska, it's between 12 and 15% of readers are literate and advanced and proficient. The rest, 88%, 85% between 4th and 8th grade in the state of Nebraska are not functioning literate in reading. They're below basic, and that is the narrative that's across the nation. So. Because of that, I decided to take on that initiative in a greater way. And so I trademarked Black Literacy Matters. And it's a play on words. It has 2 meanings. It's a statement, and then it's also saying these particular issues surrounding literacy as it pertains to Black students matters. And they are things that we need to discuss. And so I'll let the video that we played at our first inaugural Black Literacy Matters Conference in April that you attended as well, I'll let the video do the rest.
So watch this, you guys.
We're back now to the crisis facing America's schools. The numbers are alarming. Only about 33% of 4th graders can read proficiently.
America's classrooms are facing a literacy crisis. Children in every demographic group have been affected, but Black and Hispanic children have fallen behind the most.
83% of African American 4th graders are reading at a basic level or below.
A mountain of new research confirming what millions of Black and brown parents feared during the pandemic. America's children are in crisis, a literary crisis.
Civil rights lawsuit filed today on behalf of 7 Detroit school children, claiming Governor Snyder and the State Board of Education denied them equal access to literacy education.
0% of 6th graders in the last testing phase tested proficient for reading and math. And civil rights attorneys say this is a violation of the 14th Amendment guaranteeing equal protection under the law.
It's wrong to do children like this.
Parents say too many classrooms are without teachers and basic resources.
Now districts are taking a hard look at what went wrong and how they can reverse it.
The Department of Education has found roughly 1/3 of the country's 4th graders read below the basic level.
From kindergarten through 2nd grade, the reading gaps between Black and Latino students and their white counterparts are now even greater than they were before the pandemic.
And Nebraska Public Schools does not recognize dyslexia as a learning disability. An Omaha child advocate is determined to change that.
She's still fighting to get Nebraska schools to recognize dyslexia as a learning disability. They have one childhood, and we have to catch it when we see it and address it then.
Educators say familiarizing kids with letters, words, and books starts at home.
State officials are asking parents to spend more time reading with their kids.
There's a lot of work that we have to do.
Are you saying that right now in the United States,
a parent can send their child to school, and it's not guaranteed if they will learn how to read.
Yes.
I think people would find that alarming.
Yes, it is alarming. We were about 14% proficient.
14%?
Yes. So we knew immediately that we had to do something to make a change in our building.
Today, teachers here focus on the science of reading.
What's your prefix?
That includes explicitly teaching phonics, fluency, and sounding out words.
It's happened all across the country. You can be poor, you can be black, you can be Hispanic, you can be all of those things, and you can still be taught how to read.
Teachers now on a new course narrowing the reading gap word by word.
Her story starts with the rescue of this little girl. Only on 7. KETV News Watch 7's Julie Cornell on a woman's mission to help children escape the trap of dyslexia.
When you're baking a cake, you need patience and a solid recipe for success. It's the same to nurture a child. That's Clarice Jackson and the young lady she raised, Letitia Fox.
It took me telling her, you're not stupid. There's nothing wrong with you. You just learn differently.
We go back to our KETV archives years ago. That's young Letitia on the playground. Clarice was an OPS reading teacher trying to help the 4th grade girl.
It just made me sick to my stomach. I just couldn't believe that this was happening and no one was doing anything.
The girl advanced in public school despite failing grades since kindergarten. As a 9-year-old, she could not read. Now an adult, Letitia looks back on those days.
I think that's when I used to act out a lot. Because I get mad and I used to walk out of class because it would frustrate me.
The little girl lived with her grandmother. Her mom was in prison. When I met Letitia 14 years ago, she was just starting to read fluently.
The wind is not blowing.
The wind is not blowing. Clarice became Letitia's legal guardian, uncovering a hidden reading disorder, dyslexia.
It's a language-based processing disorder. So it has nothing to do with vision, but it has a lot to do with how the brain processes language.
She enrolled Letitia in a specialty private school to treat dyslexia, and Clarice went back to school, training for years to become a dyslexia specialist. Today, Clarice runs the Voice Advocacy Center in Omaha. It's the only nonprofit of its kind screening and tutoring children with dyslexia. Using a method that uses all the senses to help kids decode words.
1 in 5. 1 in 5 people, 20% of the population is more prevalent in African American and Latino communities.
She says 75% of Nebraska's prison population is functionally illiterate, and Clarice thinks dyslexia is a big reason.
A lot of times people think dyslexia is reading backwards. That's a myth. Dyslexia is not reading backwards. It just means that they don't know their left from their right, their up from their down.
She's still fighting to get Nebraska schools to recognize dyslexia as a learning disability.
They have one childhood, and we have to catch it when we see it and address it then.
Because with the right recipe and the right advocate,
don't give up.
Children like Letitia,
keep reading, keep trying,
can succeed.
Read every word you see.
Clarice Jackson's life changed when she met Letitia at age 9. We followed their story starting in the year 2000.
It created the advocate that you have standing before you.
We're just waiting on you.
Letitia's family celebrates in the parking lot of Voice Advocacy Center for children with dyslexia, founded by Clarice.
Thank you for being here.
We last saw the mother-daughter together just a few months before someone murdered Letitia.
Don't give up. Keep reading, keep trying.
Everybody got a balloon?
The family won't give up on finding Letitia's killer.
She's 28. I can't even believe she ain't even here for it, but you know, it's okay.
Or remembering her.
And with that, we send our love and our remembrance, and you will never be forgotten. Letitia, Tish Day. We love you. We love you.
Black folk right now hold the greatest academic achievement on the earth. For 360 years, it was against the law, Rock, to be caught teaching a black person to read and write. it'll cost you 39 lashes and $100 to teach a black person to read and write. And that was all the way up to the 1860s. And so in 1860, when blacks came out of slavery, you got to understand 96% of black folk in America could not read and write. But guess what? The immigrants coming into the country, the white people class, the white immigrants coming to the country, they had a 96% ignorant rate too, illiteracy rate. And so, but between 1865 and 1895, black folk reduced their illiteracy rate from almost 196% all the way down to 40-some%. And they did it by themselves basically. They hold a record of achievement. Nobody in the history of the world has ever come out of slavery and be able to reduce their illiteracy rate by in half in 30-year time period.
Wow, the information contained in that video is eye-opening and jaw-dropping. And the reason we're here today is because we're not going to sit back and let it happen anymore. And so Clarice Jackson is with us to tell us more about this amazing initiative that she is the mom. She birthed it. Here we go. Okay, so I have a couple questions and you're just going to like fill us in.
Okay, awesome.
So what are some of your key objectives of this conference? What do you hope is the fruit of it?
What I hope for the fruit of it, we actually accomplished year one, and that was bringing a sense of community, not having just your typical literacy conference. I think we have a lot of them, not saying that they're bad, but I wanted it to be more of a, let's just have real conversation, let's all be open, let's all look at these issues that are staring us in the face and not just look at them as numbers and data, but really digest it and say, how do we collectively come together for a time and then go back into our communities and work collaboratively, synergistically together to change this narrative, not just accept it. And so I think that happened year one.
I think that happened.
Good,
yeah,
good.
I totally agree. What an exciting thing. There is a lot of momentum going into year two and excitement.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be hard for you to answer, but can you highlight some of like the key presentations or the key breakouts? Like if you had to pick a couple to say, wow, this was jaw-dropping or really impactful for the participants, what ones would you pick? I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
You know, I've been to a lot of literacy conferences. I know a lot of key people in the space, keynotes, all of that. I would say one of them for me was Dr. Julie Washington, when she talked about language variation and dialect and how that needs to be put into the context of any teacher that's dealing with a child, teaching them to read, using the science of reading, which we know is the best way to teach children to read across the board. But just listening to her talk about the language that's used at home for children of color, and then coming to school and the misinterpretation that can persist and has happened in many classrooms, not to anybody's intentions or intentional fault, but just not knowing and not understanding how that plays a role in speech and language and reading. And so I enjoyed her keynote. It was the opening.
Did too. It was the opening and I love research, but her research.
Oh yeah.
Oh my Lord. And so I would have said the same thing.
Would you?
Yes.
Yeah, good. That's
so
great.
Good. Okay. What feedback have you received from the people who did attend? And then like, how is that going to shape what you're going to do planning in the future?
Oh, the feedback. And you know, and I'm giving you the feedback. This is not me. And some people would think, oh, you're the founder, you're the mom. You'd say that. No, it is, I got so much positive feedback from every single person that attended. They ranted and raved. The Omaha Public School System had sent a lot of teachers. And I heard directly from the Director of Education, Donna.
I was going to say that they sent leaders too.
Yeah, Donna was there, and she came up to me and she personally said, every single teacher that we've sent to different conferences said, this was by far the best conference that they have ever been to. And so it just made me proud because I really worked hard, and it wasn't just me, I had a team, but we really worked hard to ensure that we were giving teachers, professionals in the space, advocates, parents, information that they could truly use and that it was impactful and that it did more than just, okay, I checked this box, I went to this conference, I got some information. But it really resonated with them. So that's what I was hoping for. And it appears, based on what we've gotten back in feedback, that it did that and then some.
Yeah, you should be immensely proud.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, if this is a specific question, how does the Black Literacy Matters Conference address specific literacy challenges faced by the Black community?
How does it? Well, number one, we addressed the elephant in the room. I mean, I don't know how anybody on the planet doesn't know or doesn't see or doesn't understand what these statistics show. And we can paint it, we can try to, you know, dress it up, but at the end of the day, we have at least 80% of Black students across the nation who are not literate. And that is a problem.
That is a problem.
It's beyond a problem. And it has been accepted. And when I say accepted, it's been accepted by whatever narrative that has been painted, whatever reasonings that have been painted, but whatever the reason, it has been accepted, and it's something that should not be accepted, and it's something that we definitely can change.
Yeah, that makes me want to say two things. So every summer I teach teachers who are about to step in the classroom, a course at UNO, and every year I pull out the Nebraska Kids Count Report. And every year we look at Nebraska's assessment scores, and we look at the difference in achievement. And one, I think it's really powerful that you flip it, where I'll say, well, 17% are proficient. But what that means then is, like you said, was it's 83% are not proficient.
Like 83 and 85 and 88% between 4th and 8th grade.
How are we even saying this at this point? So, but people are surprised every summer that this is the reality. This isn't the nation. This is Nebraska's test scores last year.
Last year.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of times it's about, well, if you say this, then you're saying something against public schools, or you're saying something against teachers. And you can tell the truth and still love teachers. Because I'm a product of a school teacher. I have many, many friends, including this lovely lady right here, who are friends of mine. I have total respect for teachers. And I have total respect for public schools. However, we are not doing a good job with teaching children to read, period. And we are not addressing a very dire situation when it comes to Black students who are lower than low. And it is unacceptable. And we can say all of those things, and they can all have meaning, and we can mean everything that we say. But it's horrific, and it's got to change.
Good. Not good, but
yeah, I got you.
You with me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. My cards are out of order, you guys.
That's okay.
Where are we? I have great questions.
You do. I think that for Black Literacy Matters, year one, just bringing people together, and even us as those who are in the space and advocates who do this, who go to conferences, who teach, who train teachers and professors and all of that. We had people from across the world. We had people all the way from London that came. And I think one of the things that Black Literacy did, it showed the conference, it showed how we come together. And if we come together and we agree and we say, hey, we ain't did it right. We don't have it all together. But now that we are together and we understand that, we can move forward and we can help change this.
Absolutely. When a group comes together on purpose for a purpose and they're united in that purpose, there is literally nothing that will stop it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you nothing's going to stop it.
I know. And I'm excited to be a part of it. I was able to attend one day this year, but next year I've already blocked out all 3 days because I will be there.
Amen.
And but other people who are listening in want to be a part of this. So talk to us about how can they learn more about it, how they can connect with you and support the movement.
So blackliteracymatters.org, you can find a wealth of information there. I would suggest that if you are on social media, that if you follow facebook.com, Black Literacy Matters, and it's literacy, L-I-T-E 8, the number 8, C-Y, matters.
Okay.
So if you follow that, you'll find a wealth of information. Because of the energy, the synergy, and the excitement around Black literacy, we are actually formalizing it into its own organization.
Good.
Because nationally we have partners that really want to do things outside of the conference to kind of move this along.
Yes.
And so we have some good things coming down the pipe. I'll give you a little nugget. With the NAACP. And so we are anticipating a resolution on Black Literacy Matters.
Oh, wow.
It was already adopted in Chesapeake, Virginia
Okay.
at the local NAACP, and now it's been moved on for national. And so that should happen in July, hopefully, prayerfully.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, then we're going to do some more exciting things around how Black literacy is looked at in particular schools and community organizations. Anyone that works with a population of Black students centered on literacy, we want to help guide them and help them as they are trying to create a literate culture.
Yeah, what a beautiful solution to a hard problem that has been around way too long.
Yeah, and you got it here first, so.
Yeah, you did get it here at first, and you can go find out more online, and I'm sure there's a video coming in the future about what you missed. If you missed the conference, you can get some highlights from it. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here today and to tell us about Black Literacy
Thank you for
Matters.
having us. We are doing our second annual March 19th to the 21st. We're doing pre-conferences the 17th and the 18th, so pre-conference track if you want to do that. But the 19th to the 21st, Omaha, Nebraska, at the Omaha University of Nebraska at Omaha. It's a college.
Yay.
We would love to see you there.
Yes, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.